Aloha, welcome back to another segment of the power of behind the scenes storytelling. And today's episode will be featuring Comic-Con. As Comic-Con is just right around the corner, so it's a really exciting time for all of us local San Diegans. And I just wanted to talk about some really important things that Comic-Con changed this year and how they're also embracing the power of behind the scenes storytelling. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, Comic-Con is this annual get-together of all things really like fun and creative, and they have different verticals, although the comic book theme has kind of like the forefront, like on the forerunner of where people typically have found Comic-Con and have enjoyed Comic-Con. But I wanted to read directly from the website, so it's very interesting as it ties into the behind-the-scenes storytelling that Comic-Con is showing and highlighting a lot more than I noticed. From the beginning, the founders of the show set out to include not only the comic books they loved, but also other aspects of the popular arts that they enjoyed and felt deserved wider recognition, including films, science fiction, fantasy literature. So kind of cool how they're bringing all that together. After one name change, which was San Diego's West Coast Comic Convention in 1972, the show officially became San Diego Comic-Con, or SDCC, in 1973 with the 4th annual event. In 1995, the nonprofit event changed its name to Comic-Con International San Diego, CCI. So there's just some really cool aspects on how they're utilizing and embracing behind-the-scenes storytelling by showing you the change in the progression, how there were several name changes, how they grew to expand and evolve and incorporate other aspects of creative art. So here, how they said it expanded not just for lovers of comic books, but also into indie film, science fiction, and fantasy literature. So there's just some cool things I wanted to note here with Comic-Con doing really great work with embracing and showing more with behind-the-scenes storytelling. So one of the things I love about Comic-Con this year, how I spoke before, is how they're really embracing behind-the-scenes storytelling, and they got a lot more personal this year, as we'll dive into. So for those of you who don't know, Comic-Con's mission statement is the San Diego Comic-Con Convention, and I spoke about how they also highlighted the transitions between their name changes, between the different other creative avenues that they also incorporated into the overall brand. And so the San Diego Comic-Con Convention, Comic-Con International, is a California nonprofit public benefit corporation organized for charitable purposes and dedicated to creating the general public's awareness of and appreciation for comics and related popular art forms, including participation and support of public presentations, conventions, exhibits, museums, and other public outreach activities which celebrate the historic and ongoing contribution of comics to art and culture. And I found this really cool because you think about Comic-Con, you probably think like anime or just like costumes or cosplay, or you just think about comic book enthusiasts and you start thinking about DC and Marvel. And I just love how, for one, it's a nonprofit, so they really are doing their part to raise awareness about their creative arts and the specialty niche of this sector of the creative art space. And it's really cool how they have come together and have just been so successful over the years, which just goes to show the power of creativity, because people are coming in droves to attend Comic-Cons. There's several Comic-Cons, but the San Diego, of course, being like the premier one. And so, yeah, it's just kind of cool to see the growth and the progression of Comic-Con in general. So, from the beginning, the founders of the show set out to include not only the comic books they loved, but also other aspects of the popular arts that they enjoyed and felt deserved wider recognition, including films and science fiction / fantasy literature. After one or more name changes, and this is where I spoke before, where they kind of show the trajectory and the shift. So they went through several name changes. And so this right here just goes to show some more behind the scenes, because most people probably just didn't know that. For the most part, the average person, including myself, just know Comic-Con. Didn't know that it started off as under a different name, didn't know the year, didn't understand like the transition of that clearly. You think about the way that they're embracing their behind the scenes story by way of showing the starting point and where they are today. And so down here it says the show's main home in the 1970s was the fondly remembered El Cortez Hotel in downtown San Diego. in 1979, and Comic-Con moved to the Convention and Performing Arts Center, or the CPAC, and stayed there until 1991, when the new San Diego Convention Center opened. Comic-Con has been at home in that facility for over 2 decades. And yeah, so if you do come to Comic-Con every year, or if you'd like to come for the first time this year, that area is like the perfect area. There's literally so much going on. It's literally like right around the way, or like pretty much like right across from the gas lamp, our famous San Diego gas lamp area. There's tons of eateries, tons of places to kind of chill, people watch, walk around. Really great walking score, so you don't have to worry about driving. I definitely encourage you to take public transportation, and it'll just save you so much time and headache, because parking over there can be crazy. But it's like the perfect location and where they have it set up. So how I spoke earlier about Comic-Con really making more of a concerted effort to have more of a personal touch that I noticed. And so their behind the scenes storytelling that they highlighted is dedicated to the president, COO, and CFO, John Rogers, who is no longer with us, and he passed away in 2018. So John Rogers, 1961 to 2018, was the man behind the curtain, the wizard who worked the controls and helped make the magic happen. And what magic was made? His vision and leadership was truly the force behind Comic-Con as it is today. Yet he never sought the spotlight or accolades. And I think that's an important note to make here, is because most people, myself included, had never heard of Mr. Rogers or John Rogers before. Had no idea. Of course, we all know that every company has its origin, every company has its founding, body or governing body, the CFO, CEO, marketing department, the vice president, all the different departments that comprise a company. However, he was very much in the shadows, yet he was running the show, and he's really the driving force behind the success of Comic-Con. I thought it was really beautiful of Comic-Con to really pay homage and show respect, and to really highlight him, because how it says here, he never sought the spotlight or accolades. He was always there, observing, directing, and more importantly, helping, often completely unnoticed and unrecognized by those around him enjoying the show. The one place that he has stepped into the spotlight was the convention's Talkback panel on Sundays. At this one event, he fielded comments and questions from attendees, who often formed a long line in the aisle before the panel even started. True to his nature, he stayed until every person had their time to speak, even if it meant the panel lasted well past the slated ending time. Every opinion and voice was important to John, and he wanted to make sure everyone felt like their concerns were heard. A little bit of the backstory that Comic-Con made sure to highlight as well was sharing more about who John Rogers was, who he is, and how he kind of came to be. And so, born in Canada, John's family moved to San Diego when he was 18 months old. The family first lived in the Mount Helix area, then moved to Del Cerro. John went to Patrick Henry High School, then moving to UCSD after graduation. It was during this time that he began volunteering for Comic-Con in the films program. He moved from one's film department to serving as a technical coordinator for the show. It was during this time that he met the woman who would become his wife, Janet Tate, also a volunteer for the convention. He made his last department move in 1986 when he was elected as the convention's president. He ran uncontested for the position each year afterwards. During the majority of his tenure as president, John also worked full-time in the computer sector, working at Qualcomm as a software engineer for many years prior to leaving the company in 2014 to work for the convention full-time. So this is really cool, because you can see how he started off as just a normal, regular person like we all do, yet he was able to grab a hold of something that he found passion in, and he was able to matriculate and climb to the top. And I think that's something important here too, to notice that when he was elected as president, as the convention's president, he ran uncontested for the position each year afterwards. So he remained in that top position, and nobody questioned. No one even thought about potentially having someone else be in that position. That really speaks volumes to his character and how much this Comic-Con convention meant to him. The fact that nobody else felt that there was a need for any change. That speaks a lot to how much heart and love that he poured into this. That speaks volumes about who he was as a man. John's years at the helm of Comic-Con produced incredible growth, contributing to an increasing social acceptance of popular arts, fandom, and culture. The show grew from a small group of die-hard fans to a huge event that is known worldwide, the largest of its kind. He guided the show through the changes and challenges with calm strength and determination, even as the show faced obstacles such as diminishing available space for events, attendee and exhibit space caps, as well as the logistics behind managing the many lines throughout the convention. His financial savvy helped keep the organization on course through difficult economic times, establishing a strong business foundation that allowed the show to transform into the powerhouse it has become. Much of what the convention is now, we owe to him, and for that, we are forever grateful. So, I wanted to share my own personal behind the scenes of Comic Con's past. This is me and my little, and we love going to Comic Con every year. And so, when we looked to purchase tickets this year, and we were looking at what the new stuff is they got going on, I was really touched by how Comic Con chose to embrace the other aspect that we typically don't see, and to pay such respect and homage to John Rogers was just truly something that I was just like, wow, this is how it's done, and they're doing a phenomenal job. And it's so cool to see how brands and companies are really pulling that curtain back and allowing their audience members to kind of see the ins and outs of things and how things came to be. And so if you are going to be visiting San Diego, I encourage you to stop by, even if you couldn't get a ticket, because tickets sell like crazy. However, go anyway, because there's so much fun stuff to do, even just in the outer surrounding areas. You'll definitely be able to have a great time. So I just wanted to share this mini behind the scenes and the power of of behind the scenes storytelling, and how Comic-Con is really doing a phenomenal job at that. So that's all that we have for today's episode. If you are interested in learning more and working with us and setting up a time to craft really compelling behind the scenes stories, learning more about ways to humanize your offer as well as your services, and just to have a deeper connection with your target audience, go ahead and click the link below or send us a message and we can set up a call. Thanks so much.